Problems in the family search tree, they can be so frustrating. And a lot of people are really intimidated about how to fix them. How do you delete somebody, or can you even delete somebody? How do you merge somebody? How do you merge two individuals together, making them one person? How do you change a relationship? Change a parent-child relationship or change a spousal relationship? Those things are really kind of scary for some people, and a lot of people come to me and they say, I don't know how to do this on Family Search. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to take you step by step how to do these types of changes in Family Search, okay? We can do this. I'm Aimee Cross. I want to help you take your genealogy to the next level. And today we're going to do it by learning how to make changes on Family Search. Now, there is a handout associated with this video. It's a step-by-step with lots of pictures in it handout so that you can see what you need to do. Okay, what's next? What do I need to be careful about? What do I need to be thinking about? And that's all in the handout. You can get the handout either by being a member of Aimee's crew. You get the handout for free the month that the video is released. And you can also get the video on Etsy if you don't want to be a member of Aimee's crew. So you might want to check either of those two out. There's information for both in the video description below. All right, let's get into this. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is how do you delete somebody? Sometimes you inadvertently create a person that you shouldn't have created. And a lot of times that happens when you adopt records into the tree. Actually, that's kind of how it happens. And it happens when you have something like this, where it's asking if I want to add Gail Stevenson to this record. Well, Gail's already there. If you see her, she's just a little bit further down. You can take Gail and you can actually click your mouse on it and pull her down till she's even with the Gail that's already in my tree there on the right-hand side. But if you haven't done that by accident, you added another Gail, it's okay, no worries. You can delete the person. So let me show you how you do that. All right, so first here we see that I have 3 possible duplicate children. We have 3 Gail Stevensons that are in the tree that are daughters of George and Georgette. These are obviously the same person. They have the same birth and death date. And so I need to figure out what I need to do about how to get rid of them, okay? So my first step is if I created them, I can delete them. So I always open the person up in a new tab by just right-clicking on person, and then I have them all opening in a brand new tab. And then I can look at them each and I can compare them. I can see what records were saved to them. I can see what facts we know about them. All of that type of information. Very, very helpful. And once I've verified that this really is the same person, then I can double check that I am the person that made all of the changes to that person. And if I'm the one that created them and made all the changes, nobody else has gotten involved in this person, I have the ability to delete them. All right, so I go down to the tools at the bottom and click delete person. Now, once I've done that, I need to give them a reason. And they have in red here, hey, make sure that you know what you're talking about. Make sure you read all the text when you do something like this. But in your reason statement, just write down what happened, why they were inadvertently created. I mistakenly added them when I adopted a record, creating a duplicate person. So then I need to check that I've reviewed the couple and parent relationships, and I need to check that I understand that by deleting this person, I'm going to be deleting their sources and all the other information that we have on that person. And then I can delete them. Voila, it's done. And then I can go on to the next Gail and I can delete her in the same fashion. Now, what if you run across a Gail and you can't delete the person like we're seeing here? We're seeing that I can't delete the person. And they give you a little thing where you can click, why can't I? And they give you some very specific information about how to delete the person, which is super helpful. If you can't delete the person, your options are going to be, you can merge them, or if they never existed and it was a complete and total mistake, you can contact FamilySearch and have them fix it for you. You can also edit any of the incorrect information that is in the tree. If there's been some incorrect birth or marriage or other information, you can edit that out. And then finally, you can change the parent and child relationships, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit. But that way you remove this person. If this isn't your person, you can remove them from the family and say, well, this person isn't really the daughter of George and Georgette. Let's talk about the first one, merging, all right? So if you have two different individuals, you can merge them in together into the tree, combining all facts that they have about them, all of their sources, all of the information about those people. Now, normally FamilySearch is going to notify you if they see possible duplicates. They're going to say, hey, we see some possible duplicates. But what happens when they haven't found any possible duplicates? They're not showing you any possible duplicates, either in the research help at the top or on the bottom. And they're going to tell you possible duplicates is not available. We're not seeing anybody that we think is a possible duplicate, but you can still merge by ID. However, you can only merge with another private person from this space. Now, the reason that it's saying this is that this George Stevenson is listed as still living. Let's go through this process and see what happens. So I have two different George Stevensons. I'm going to merge by ID. So I click merge by ID, and then I paste in that person's FamilySearch ID number. But they're telling me, wait a minute. A living person can't be merged with a deceased person. And the reason this is so important is that living people are private and deceased people aren't. So you can't merge them. So what do? You've got to go in. If he's truly deceased, you need to go in and you need to change the guy that's living to deceased. So you go to his main page and you go to his vitals and you see underneath death, you see living. So you click the little pencil right by death, you click deceased, and then you put the reason for the information. You can include the date and place of death if you want to, but you actually don't even have to do that. And then you ask FamilySearch to mark that person as deceased. Now that they're both deceased, now I should be able to merge them by ID. So now I go back in, click merge by ID, paste in the ID number of the other individual, which I forgot. So let me go up and copy that. When you just click on the ID number, FamilySearch will copy it for you, and then click continue. Now, there's a 3-step process for merging somebody. On the first page, FamilySearch is going to compare the person that's going to be deleted on the left with the person that's going to be saved on the right. And it says that up at the very top. Now, as we scroll down on the page, we can see all of the facts, all of the family, and all of the sources that have been saved to those different individuals. And I can click yes, continue. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to click yes, continue. I can also click not a match if I don't think these two people are a match, or I can go back and look at the previous page or go out of it. So when I click yes, continue, it's going to take me to step 2. Now, when I'm looking at step 2, all of the things on the left are going to end up being completely deleted. And it says that very clearly at the top. So it's good practice when you have more information on one person than you do on the other, which in this instance, the guy on the left has much more information than the guy on the right. I want to switch them, and I can click that switch button right up there at the top. So now I'm going to switch their positions, and now the guy that didn't have as much information is now on my left, and he's going to end up being deleted, and the guy on the right, all of that information on the right is going to be saved. So if I find something and I want to replace it, like here I have a birth in 1940, well, that was not as much information as I had previously. So I want to undo that. I want to take great care in choosing about replacing a spouse where the child isn't there, because in the one instance, we had a spouse without a child, but in the other instance, we had a spouse with a child. And so I want to make sure that I don't mess that up. Pay really close attention to the children and the spouses. Then when I click on continue, I go to my step 3. And here I need to enter a reason for the merge. And FamilySearch has some canned reasons for you that you can just click add at the bottom. However, you can also type in more information and state why you think the merge is correct. You could write a bunch of information there if you want to, which is great, especially if there's some conflict and you want to make it very clear. Good time to say that less is not more in this instance. So that is something that I often say, right? That less is more, because oftentimes less is more. But here, sometimes less is not more. You want to merge and you want to give the reasons why you're doing it. Now I'm going to scroll down one more time. I'm just going to verify that all of the pertinent information is still here, and then I'm going to finish the merge. And FamilySearch is going to tell me that the merge has been successful, and I'm going to see the combined individual now on FamilySearch. So let me take you to another example of a William Paston, and here we're seeing possible duplicates for William. Let's look at how to merge him. Now I can either select the duplicates up there at the top under Research Suggestions, or I could go down to Tools and click the possible duplicates down at the bottom, and I'll see the 4 different possible duplicates. I click on one and I'm going to review those. Now let me go back up to the top and we'll start from there instead. So I'm going to go way up here to the top and I'm going to click on one of these duplicates. Now I've chosen the duplicate that I want to review. I click Review Merge, and I'm going to go through these very same processes. Now they've given me a merge warning. They're telling me that this surviving person has been merged several times before. So be really careful about determining that these two people are really the same person, that maybe you might not want to be merging these two guys. And I can see all of the family and all of the sources there on the right for the man who will be remaining after my merge. Now, in this instance, when I'm looking at this family, I see an Anne on the left, and I see an Ann Buttle, I have her surname, on the right. And I see a Sarah Charlotte Paston, who was born in 1816. And these other Paston children were born prior to that. So was Sarah really their daughter and born after Samuel Benjamin? It's possible. And so as I go down to the bottom of this page, I can either choose back or not a match if I don't think that it's a match. Now, in this instance, if I'm not sure, I need to not say it's not a match because I don't know that it's not a match. I need to definitely go back, all right? You want to be careful about those kinds of things. Know what you're doing before you do it. Don't merge willy-nilly. Make sure you've done your research and you've done all of the background work and you know that this is correct. You want to look at other people by the same name in that area. You want to make sure that these two people were in the same area as the other Paston family. Where were the other Paston kids christened? Or where were they enumerated in the census? Is this Anne and Sarah Charlotte from the same area? If those things aren't matching up, then this probably isn't a match. And I could say it's not a match. If I'm not sure, I'm going to say back. Now I want to jump to step 2 of William Paston and show you about the family members, because this is where a lot of people get confused and it's where a lot of people make a lot of mistakes, okay? So if you go down here and you look at his family and his spouse and children, you have Ann Buttle and their children. That's the guy that is surviving, that was already there. This is the Anne and the Sarah Charlotte that were from the other William Paston. Now, Ancestry by default is going to add them to the William Paston. Okay. And the reason that they're going to do that is because if they don't do that, then Anne and Charlotte all of a sudden are going to be floating without a husband or father. And we're merging them because we believe that there is children. And if you don't add them to the surviving person, unless you have their ID number written down, they can be hard to find and fix later. So always, always, always add those spouses and children from the person that's going to be disappearing to the surviving person, and then you can work them out later. Now, if I could undo it, I could take them out and I can do that, but I really don't want to. I want to keep them both in there. And then when I do my next step, then I'm just going to give them my reasons, and you're going to see down here that you have Anne with the children, and then you have this new spouse, Anne, with this other child. And then I would complete this merge. Then I have 2 Anns because I'm going to have this Ann Buttle, whose FamilySearch ID number is K8P82W4. And then I'm going to have this Anne who has a different FamilySearch ID number. If these are truly the same person, then what I would do is then I would merge those 2 individuals, okay? When I merge the 2 other individuals, the 2 Anns, I know this is confusing, then Charlotte will automatically be included with the other children in the family. So don't forget to do that step. Make sure you add any spouses and children from the guy that's going away or the woman that's going away to the surviving person, and then resolve them later. Okay, it's better, even if you can't resolve them right away, it's better to have them there together. All right. Now, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments. I'm happy to try to answer them if I can. Again, you might want to pick up the handout because it might answer some of your questions too. One of our other big problems in the family search tree is the relationships, that we have somebody that's listed with a parent that it's not their parent, or that it's the dad is right, but the mom is wrong, or two spouses that have been related, that have been married together that shouldn't be married together. How do we fix that? You can fix it. It's okay. We can do this. All right. So here I'm on a person page of one of my grandfathers, and I see that he was married to Stella Mae Harris, and he was also married to Elizabeth Strawn. Let's say we want to do some changing, all right? So first, let's talk about spouses. Maybe he never really did marry Elizabeth. Let's say I've made a mistake in my tree. He never married her. I want to go to the pencil here under marriage, and I want to click on that pencil. And when I click on that pencil, I have a new screen open, and then I can choose to add a reason why I know that they are spouses if I want to. That doesn't change anything. It just gives somebody more information. I can remove or replace Elizabeth. Now, if it were the opposite, if I were looking at Elizabeth's profile page, it would be the opposite. The remove or replace would be here under Amos. I can also add an event here. I can add a marriage date or marriage place, and I could add some other facts, and I could add sources and notes to just this fact. Those things just pertain to the marriage relationship, which I really like the ability to be able to do that. So let's say I want to remove or replace Elizabeth, and you can see the X right here. It tells you we're getting rid of Elizabeth from Amos, okay? So I can either remove her, delete her from the relationship. That does not delete her from the tree, but it will remove her as the parent of any children between the two of them. If I replace her, if I know who that person should be, I can replace her. Now I need to check that I've reviewed the relationships, events, facts, sources, and notes for the individual. Again, we want to know what we're doing here. We don't want to be like, this looks right. I think this is right. That is never the right thing to do. You want to look at the facts and know that you're doing the right thing. Okay, promise? All right, now, so you're going to click this box and say that you've reviewed the relationships, and then you can choose to either replace the wife or remove the wife. If I click remove, I have to put in a reason for my change, and she's out of there. That fast, super quick. If I want to replace the wife, then I need to type in the information for the new person. And if they're deceased, FamilySearch is going to look to see if FamilySearch has a match for that person. And if they are not deceased, then it's just going to add them into the tree. Or I can add the person by their ID number. I can copy their ID number from my information, and I can paste it here and add them by their ID number. If I'm replacing somebody, FamilySearch is going to ask me, as in all other places, why I'm doing it, and ask me to give an explanation and reason. And then you can finalize it. Now, let's say I decide that I want to remove Elizabeth. I can say remove wife, and I could say that there is no evidence the two were married, or something to that effect. You can say whatever you want to say here, and then I click remove. She's gone. She's no longer with Amos. Now, if I hadn't written down her information, I'd have to go in and manually search for an Elizabeth Strawn again, okay? Now, there's one other place that you can go when you do something and you go, wait a minute, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. All right, you can go here to the latest changes, show all, and you can see that I deleted the relationship between Elizabeth and Amos. Now, often you have the option to restore. So that was an error. So I'm going to restore that. So I can say the couple were in fact married. The previous deletion of the marriage was an error. And then I can click restore. That quick. We're seeing in the history that the relationship was restored. And when I go back to Amos, we can see that Elizabeth is back with Amos. Yay! All right. So now sometimes you don't have the opportunity in the history to restore relationships like that. To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure why you can sometimes and can't other times. If somebody knows the answer to that, or somebody from FamilySearch can answer that, put it in the comments. I would love to hear. All right, so let's move on to children. How do we deal with children? So let's say Hazel was in fact not the child of Amos and Stella. She was the child of Amos and Elizabeth. I can make that change. I want to go to the pencil next to Hazel. Okay, that's really important. I want to go to the pencil next to Hazel. And then I'm going to click right here, remove or replace, and I'm going to go through kind of the same process that you do with spouses. say that I've reviewed the relationship sources and notes for these individuals, and then I can replace because I know who her mom is. So I could either type her information by her ID number or by name, and then I do that. Then Hazel would be removed as a daughter of Stella and placed underneath the marriage of Elizabeth and Amos. And if you get in here and you've realized that you've made a mistake, it's okay. You can just click the X and get out of here and you're not going to hurt anything, all right? You can also delete the relationship between Hazel and both parents down here. Now, one of the other things that's available to you next to the child is their relationship to the parent. And here you can see we have a little pencil next to the relationship to the child. So right now it's saying that Amos is the biological father of Hazel, but I have other choices. I could say he's the adoptive, foster, guardian, or step. And I can do the same. I can cancel back out of this, or I can do the same with her mom. I want to throw up here an image from FamilySearch that they put on their page about the important rules when you're correcting relationships, because order is important when you're deleting relationships. The first thing is you need to know what is correct before you do anything. You need to find the sources. You need to make sure that those sources verify all of your information. You want that information in front of you while you're analyzing the children and the parent. You want to make sure that the dates and places are logical and everything's making sense. But then you want to make a plan of attack. You want to determine the most correct information and what to keep and what to delete. This goes back to the who's on the surviving side when you're merging somebody and who's on the deleting side when you're merging somebody. Now, when you're deleting people, you want to work your way up. They say delete the bolded child last. And what they're trying to say there is that if you start deleting the parents and then you leave the children, then that causes a lot of problems. So you want to work through the children first if you're deleting relationships, right? And then you want to hit the parents last. But if you have duplicate parents, this is kind of funny. If you have duplicate parents, you want to merge the duplicate parents first and then the children last. I know, but it's true. And then finally, keep in mind, if you're in doubt at all, if you're in doubt, don't do it. Don't merge them. Don't change the relationships. Just leave it in there for somebody else to deal with or until you are confident that you're making the right decision. I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope that by learning these little tricks about how to merge, how to change relationships, and even how to delete somebody, that the FamilySearch tree will not be so difficult for you to use, and you can make the changes that need to be made. I'd really appreciate it if you take a couple minutes and put something in the comments about what you learned from this video that you didn't know before, or ask your questions. I would love to hear what those are. Now, this video right over here is a video that I just did about FamilySearch tree building, and it's a little bit more general. So if you need to go back and get a little bit more information on the people pages and just like all of the other details of building a tree on FamilySearch, check out that video. I hope this is helpful to you. Please like if it is, and have a great day. Thanks.